Samisch variation was very popular for many years, and it's still popular today, not as popular as earlier, but it's still, you can see a lot played in the tournaments. F3 in this position, that defines the Samisch variation. There are a lot of different ways to play against Samisch variation, and I don't want to go to most complex variations. There is a castle, bishop e3 and c5, pawn sacrifice, and it's very complicated variations. Or castle followed by e5, also a lot to study. So I am trying to give you something that is easy to adapt, easy to play, and easy to learn. That's c6 variation. c6, a6 and b5. Notice that a lot of people, and for a long time it was very popular to play castle, bishop e3 and then c6, a6 and b5. That's not the same variation, and I'm going to tell you what the difference is. We play after f3, c6 without castling, and here's what. Bishop e3, we go now a6, and we want to play b5. There is a way white can stop black from playing b5 permanently by playing a4. Actually, that's the move that was played by one quite famous grandmaster against my student just a little while ago, and game was won very nicely by black. If white plays a4 trying to stop b5, then black goes a5. Now, what did black do? They lost the tempo. They went a6, a4, now a5. But they got, after bishop e3, knight a6, knight e2, they got very nice square on b4. So they can go e5, and after castling, knight to b4, and if bishop b1, then black castles, later takes on d4, and they have very nice position. Actually, that's what happened in that game. So when we play after f3, c6, that's what we want to play. We want to play a6 and b5 variation, and after bishop e3, a6. Now, suppose white ignores black and lets them play b5. Now, on bishop d3, we can simply go b5 and knight e2. Then we can go knight d7. And if white castles, black castles, and black has a reasonable position, then later they can play either e5, or they can play b takes c, bishop takes c4, and d5, and after ed, knight to b6, which gives black very satisfactory position. Now, what's the difference? Why we don't want to play castle first, and after bishop e3, c6? We don't play like this because there is danger in playing c6 and a6 variation after castling, because we castled bishop e3, now c6, now white can go queen d2, and after b5 maybe h4, and on bc they just ignore. We go something like g4 and castle long, either castle long and followed by g4. White may get very strong attack on queen side. There's a lot of theory involved, and later white is going to play bishop h6. and the pawn on c4, it's an extra pawn, but there is not much of use for this pawn. So the way we play is we don't castle yet. Now c6, if white goes bishop e3, we go a6, and now on queen d2, b5, and when white castles here, we can simply take on c4, and now h4 and g4 makes no sense at all, because black is not even castling on a king side. Black can go here d5 or maybe even h5, and after g5, knight d7. So this attack is pointless. So this variation I would strongly recommend, and that's how I would play anytime, anywhere, against any opponent. I would go c6, bishop e3, a6, and now you want to play b5, knight d7 with delay of castling. If you see white plays bishop d3 and knight e2, that means white wants to castle short, and then we can castle short as well. So here is that's the main idea of playing this variation. c6 again, bishop a3, a6, and on a4 you go a5, and by playing knight a6 and knight b4, you're mounting knight on a good square, and then you play e5, having comfortable position, guaranteed comfortable position. Knight is very well placed on b4. That's the variation I would strongly recommend to play against Samisch. Well, there are not too many sample games on it because this is a relatively new way to play for black, and in my